What's going on? We're back. We are adding positive slash negative integers, and we are looking at case 1 right now, same signs. So here are some examples of adding same sign integers. Note that in every one of these examples, each integer that we're adding has the same, is both, the signs are the same. So in other words, here they're both negative, here they're both positive, here they're both negative, here they're both negative, and here they're both positive. This is what we call case 1. And so if we were to look at this, -2 plus -3 is -5, 3 plus 8 is 11, -1 minus 5, which we'll talk about, that's adding a -5, so that's going to be a total of -6 there. This is -2 plus -1, which is -3, and then 7 plus 8 is 15, but they are all under the same sign, case 1. So we're starting here with a simple example. We're looking at case 1, and we're adding same sign integers, and notice that the signs are the same. They're both positive. So just like everything, we try to start simple and then we get more complicated, but we always try to really understand the simple things and make generalizations to help us understand the more complicated things. So 2 is here, and then from there we're going to add 3, and it takes us to 5. So we started at 2, added 3, got us to 5. That's the way it looks on a number line. And I would say in this case, this is like you earned $2, you got paid, and let's say you had no money in your bank account balance, it was at 0. So you deposited $2 into your bank account, and then you deposited $3 into your bank account, and then you ended up with a total of $5 in your account. And there would be your final answer, right? I'm just representing them now with chips here, and you can see 2 green chips representing positive plus 3 green chips brings us to 5. Okay, so there's 2 different ways of thinking about it, plus the money scenario, so that's actually 3. So now let's do the same thing, except instead of adding positive same sign integers, we're going to add negative same sign integers. So notice that these are the same signs, right? This is negative, they're the same, and that puts us in case 1, where we're adding same sign integers. So if I go to -2 on a number line, that takes me here to -2, and if I add a -5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, that gets us to -7. So the result here would be -7. And if I were to use red chips, and as you can see, there's a total of 7 red chips, and each chip is represented a negative. So that's the way that's working there. Now you can also think of this as, let's say you had $0 in your bank account, just like last time, but instead of this time working and depositing money, let's say that you had a debit card and you spent $2, so your account went negative because you didn't really have the money to cover it, right? So there's the -2, and then you got, say, a overdraft fee from the bank, and they took out, or they lowered your account balance by $5. So they charged you a $5 fee there. And there's a difference, and I know some of you guys might be confused from the last one, like these do not mean absolute value here. These are parentheses. These are just, I'm just making sure you understand that these are negative, okay? So they're not, I'm not taking the absolute value here. I'm just saying that this is a -5. So if I add a -2 plus a -5, I end up with a result of -7. Again, signs are the same, and there's my answer. So from these examples that we've worked, let's make some generalizations about adding positive slash negative integers. Now, all we're looking at today is case 1, where signs are the same. And here are going to be our rules. We're going to say to add the absolute value of the numbers, and we're going to keep the sign. So let's see how it works, because, I mean, you don't want to be using a number line for every single problem or having to bust out these red and green chips, right? So you want to be able to have a quick way to understand it, to get the right answer accurately every time. So let's look at this here, and let's keep these rules in mind. Okay, so example 1 here, we're starting with a -3, and we're adding a -2. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to add, it says add the absolute value of the numbers. So you remember from the last video, right? If I look at the absolute value of -3, that's just 3. And if I add the absolute value of -2, that's 2, and I get 5. But I need to also keep the sign. And since I'm adding negative numbers, my final answer is -5. Now, I'm showing this, but you're going to really like start to just think this. You're not going to show it. Later on, you're going to kind of do this part in your head, and you're just going to come to this, and you're going to get quickly to this answer of -5. All right, so let's look at another example, but this time they're both going to be positive numbers, but we're going to show that we can utilize the rules still. And so here we have two positive numbers. We're going to add the absolute value of the numbers, which is just 5. The absolute value of 5 is 5, and the absolute value of 8 is 8. So we're just adding those two numbers, and we're going to get 13, and we're going to keep the sign because the initial signs of these were both positive. So we're keeping the signs. So that's just to show you that this rule does work when both of your numbers are positive. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to add two negative numbers, but really, okay, so look what it says. It says -6 minus 7. And I don't know how your teacher teaches you, but or how you've been taught, but when you subtract a number like -6 minus 7, subtracting is the same thing as adding a negative. So really, we're taking both of these numbers are negative. And so the first thing you should always do when coming to a problem is look what the signs are. If they're both positive, you're in case 1. If they're both negative, like here, see how they're both negative? You know you're in case 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the absolute values of these two numbers. The absolute value of -6 is 6. Absolute value of -7 is 7. We're just adding 6 and 7 to get 13, but we're also going to keep the sign. Boom, we're done. Okay, so this is just a shortened version of the rules that I gave you just a second ago. This is adding positive/negative integers. This is case 1, same signs, and we're just saying to add and keep the sign. So this is the rule that you should keep in your brain, in your head. You should memorize it, keep it in your heart. And I know I always keep this up in my room just to help students out to remember the rules when adding same sign integers. So that'll do it for this video. I'm going to post in the description some practice problems if you want to practice with adding case 1 same sign integers, just to give you a little bit more of an edge and give you a little more confidence if you need it. Other than that, I will see you in the next video adding different sign integers.